Vicki, welcome to the Birchal podcast. That's the best reaction yet, I'd say, for late in the afternoon where we're all a little bit low on the energy, but our peppermint teas are firmly by our side. So our trusty friends, we promise they are just peppermint. So
nothing else in this tea.
Nothing else. So first of all, welcome to the Birchal podcast. You are, of course, the CEO of the Startup Network and one of our most recent partners, and we're really excited to be working with you to really expand and kind of draw together the community around this startup piece. So in your own words, what are you guys excited, or what are you all so excited about from your side?
Oh, we are pumped to be partnering with Birchal.
Awesome.
Birchal have been on our hit list for a while. We love the crowdfunding opportunity for founders. Founders have got very limited avenues for funding. And so when you are in that space where maybe VC is not for you, or maybe you've been bootstrapping your business to date, or maybe you've been looking at other alternative funding routes, the crowdfunding opportunity is one where you can really engage your existing fans. And it's beautiful on both sides, right? So as a founder, you're able to engage your fans for them to invest in you. And then as an investor, if you love a brand, why not support that brand by investing in its growth? And so this beautiful circular opportunity for us to
It's a beautiful synergy,
evolve.
isn't it? I think in terms of how it works, and I think it allows people to also become exposed to new opportunities as well. You know, like you might have invested in, I'm trying to remember the first one, I think Stuff was not maybe the first, but a brand I became open to. And then I saw Cyclion, a huge industrial size washing machine, which wouldn't necessarily say I would traditionally want to invest in, but became very interested. And you just get peppered with opportunities like that. And then you often think about, I just need some more money, that's all.
Yes.
So that's the
only stumbling block.
Small hindrance. So, Vicki, tell me, how do you become the CEO of the Startup Network? Just briefly as an introduction to yourself. What's that journey been like?
Gosh, I arrived at the Startup Network 2 and a bit years ago. Previously to that, I was lucky enough to work with a startup through early stage and all the way through to IPO, which was an amazing experience and something that not many people in Australia get the opportunity to do. So I feel really privileged for having that as part of my wheelhouse. It means that I can deliver great expertise and knowledge into the founder community to help them on their journey too. I've worked before joining the Startup Network. I also did a lot of freelance in product strategy. My background's product strategy, and so I love helping people identify their growth opportunities. Often they're hidden opportunities that really just need a bit of digging and a bit of research and a bit of insights into your customer and your target market and your product opportunities for you to really identify a nugget of gold. And I love doing that for businesses. So
love
that's
that.
how I ended up here.
The IPO experience, that is quite I had the pleasure of working with a company called EdStart prior to working with Birchal. And what was amazing about my time there is that they're a funded startup. I came in probably after they'd done a significant raise, but just seeing a startup go from a small group to a big group was just like, wow, this is so cool. And and they talked about just a few years earlier, it was like 5 or 6 people, if that. And that's a really, I think when you see that, it's very hard to unsee that. And then it kind of changes something, it changed something for me, I'll speak personally. I was like, wow, you really can turn something from nothing into something. And that's really amazing about this space. What was your journey like in terms of IPO way?
It was an incredible journey. I feel really privileged to be brought in when the company was the size it was. So, yes, they'd raised a few times. We were about 60, 70 people at the time when I arrived. And my role was to set the product strategy and an avenue to growth. And that avenue to growth meant global expansion. We were already really well established in the US, but didn't have any placement really in Europe and very little in Australia, strangely enough. And so my role was to identify those growth opportunities and then work with suppliers and operators to ensure that we could deliver what we needed to deliver in each region. And so then seeing that business going to this amazing doubling your annual revenue every year, and really seeing that growth come through. There are things, if it were my business, I probably would have done differently. But that product-led growth was really something that we were after, and it was product-led growth above all else.
Right.
And so that really, it influenced a lot of decisions. It was product over profit, essentially.
Makes sense.
And so, going to that IPO status meant that we had to be proving that we could grow our business, doubling month on month, which we did for a number of years. And then, the IPO process was another really amazing process, just to be part of that senior leadership team when we were going through such due diligence, and there was so many eyeballs on us all the time, so many investor meetings, people coming to the office and wanting to talk to the senior team and hear their thoughts and what their plans are. It was great to be part of something like that. It was really
CEO of Birchal, Matt Vitale, he talks about capital raising through the crowd as not a dissimilar experience to IPOing in terms of you're sourcing capital from external parties, retail investors, etc. And that's not dissimilar to the kind of level of scrutiny, the transparency you need to provide, and that can be quite cumbersome for very early stage startups. Not even bigger startups like your own, right? When you're well resourced and what's required at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw the founder go through the ringer. He was really put through so many questions, and it was torturous sometimes, I'll be honest, to watch that, because that the business has got this amazing opportunity, but you just felt like the eyeballs were on you all the time, and the questions, it was like they were trying to trip us up sometimes, the purposefully really wanting to get to know under the bonnet of the business, which they need to do, obviously they need to do, but it was interesting to watch from the few steps back that I was. It was interesting to see how the CEO and the COO played the whole thing.
Wow.
It was really interesting.
And as a quick mandate on your role in the CEO of the Startup Network these days, what's your kind of key goals at this point?
Yeah, so we are a national entity now supporting founders in that we started out as helping people on the startup early stage journey, and that's just becoming further and further along the journey. And so we're now able to support people further along their journey. But we really want to ensure that everybody with an idea has the opportunity to be a successful startup. And for us, that looks like ensuring that everyone has the education, everyone has the community and the support networks around them, that all the lucky people who got the opportunity to maybe do a StartMate program or have family and friends or have got a network already around them already have. And so we want to put our arms around the whole founder community rather than just enabling more of the growth community that we already see in the startup industry.
Yeah, super. And actually, we had the pleasure of Judy, your former CEO, come on actually, and she was talking. She spoke very fondly of her experience and time at the network, and stepping into a family office now has been a whole different experience for her. But I think that her experiences certainly served her well. And I think what we want to talk about on this episode is that we're about to step into a new event series together, partnering together to support, and the first event around female founders. So
absolutely.
From your words, why female founders in particular as a focus area for you?
Well, it's another underrepresented group, right? So it really speaks to who we are as an organisation. We've been running female founder pitch nights for a number of years already. We always get amazing traction. In fact, they're always our highest application. Number of applications come through on the female founder pitch night. Last year we had 80 applications of female founders, which is amazing. And it just shows that if we shine a light on women and we enable them and give them the tools to be able to participate into something that they often feel expelled from or that they don't feel worthy for, that we can get some incredible results. And we have had some amazing women founders presenting at our female founder pitch night. So,
super cool.
We'll continue every year. We keep it agnostic because we really want to enable any women to apply, but we also have very targeted pitch nights. So every month we have a pitch night around a particular industry, everything from climate tech and ag tech to sports and gaming to e-commerce. So everything is covered. And it's a really great space for women to apply to every month, not just for the Female Founder Month.
Yeah, and I think it's particularly interesting. I was involved in a research project just recently about the impact of female founders on investment returns.
Yes.
So there's like female founders deliver 63% better returns from what I recall of the data than male founders. Mm-hmm. They produce more profit and more revenue from less capital. Yeah. I think there's a US study which I shared with Emily, who's part of the Birchal team. There was a US study for crowdsourcing. They raised 1.2, so 120% more capital through crowdsource platforms than their male counterparts. Like, some really strong proof points, which demonstrate beyond the kind of the moral, ethical, whatever you might want to call that, purely hardline financial business outcomes. Gender diverse teams are more profitable. They deliver more revenue. There's a strong case for this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they also hire more people too. So they end up with bigger teams. Okay. They hire more people. They're more generous. They give back to their community. All of the good things. And so, female founders are a massive missed opportunity. In fact, I think stats say that if we were to give the same amount of funding to women founders as we give to male founders, it would add $5 trillion to our bottom line, which is just amazing in Australia. Like, that could be potential.
In your experience, what do you think are the contributing factors? Because Judy, when I spoke to her, we touched on this piece around how funding in Australia and actually globally, we're going backwards when it comes to funding female founders. What do you think are the factors for that reason?
I think there's a lot of unconscious bias in the industry. I don't think it's purposeful. I think that, when we talk to investors, still the majority of investors have male partners. And so even when you are a female investor within that, you're still influenced by an investment committee or a leadership team who are majority male. And it's natural. We all have unconscious bias. Yeah. It's within us, sadly. And so we really have to fight against unconscious bias and do things purposefully to push against what comes naturally. And that means taking some risks. And unfortunately in Australia, that's the other thing we have, is that we're very risk averse. Tall poppy syndrome is real, and we're always afraid to do something a little bit differently to the norm, and therefore people become risk averse. And so you have this unconscious bias, and then people knowing they need to take risk to be able to forego that unconscious bias that they naturally have, but they're afraid to take the risk. Yeah. And so just this cycle. That's it's an anecdotal opinion. That's my opinion, but that's what I see. And it's a challenge for women. It's really a challenge for us to be heard and to be seen and to feel that there's an opportunity for both. I had multiple conversations with men and women from the same types of industries, and how many pitches and difficulties they've had pitching in front of an investor, and then a male from the similar industry at a similar time frame and a similar kind of product or category of products would get the funding very much easier than the woman. And that means that there's also this lack of awareness as well around male founders, because male founders don't see the challenges female founders have, and so their assumption is, the product must not be as good, or they must not be as good as a founder, or so there's this another layer that then happens beyond that, beyond the not getting the funding, is this layer of, well, your product must not be as good as my product, or what you're doing can't be as good as what I'm doing.
Which speaks to humans. We're not that great, and we can try very hard to see the world through other people's eyes, but it's just really hard to do.
It's hard so hard.
Yeah. And I think we spoke just before we jumped on about talking about our own kind of personal growth journey. From your perspective, how important is that in terms of a founder's journey as in business?
Yeah, it's hugely important. It's had a massive impact on my life. I don't think it's just a problem for founders, it's a problem for leaders. And, without us being able to look inside at ourselves, it's what's really going on for us as individuals. It's really hard for us to see the impact we have on other people. Or equally, it's really hard for us to understand that another person might be going through their own pain, on their own challenges and their own triggers. And so that's why they're treating us in a certain way. And so there's this lack of knowledge and awareness that we have of ourselves, which impacts every part of our lives, no matter where we are on the ecosystem or in life. It impacts us, and we need help, we need support, and we need to engage the right tools and the right modalities to enable us to be able to serve ourselves better, and to be able to do a better job, therefore, for our teams and for others and for people around us.
And I think one thing, speaking to that point, one thing which stood out to me, as much as we're doing the pitch night collaboratively, there's actually a whole bunch of support as well, right? So it's not like you can put your application in or, say, do you want to put your hand up? Yeah. But there's actually then a whole process which kicks in to go, well, you may not be, assuming you may not be ready. Yeah. Talk to us about what do you actually get around all that in that piece.
So when you apply for a pitch night, we go through an application process. People put in their pitch decks. They put in all of the detail about their business and the size they are, the stage they are, their team. All of the relevant information goes into the application. Saying that, it's not an arduous application. It's a relatively short
3 weeks
application.
later, you get to the end of the form. Yeah.
It's a relatively short application compared to applying for investment. It's a very short application.
Excuse me. Die on my own joke there. Hopefully we can edit that bit out.
So it's a short application, which then gives us a really succinct understanding of their business and their pitch deck. And from that, it then goes through a shortlist application process where we go through every single application. So when there's 80 applications, we go through 80 pitch decks and we give them the due diligence they need to be able to get the right people in the audience, in front of the audience, because we think it's really important to ensure that everybody gets a spotlight and wherever you are on your journey. So we try to ensure that our pitch nights cover early stage and later stage. They cover different in an agnostic sense. We want them to cover both technical and potentially even technically physical product. And we want to ensure that the people are from vastly different demographics. So whether that's age, gender, race, we want to make sure that we have as much variety in the people applying, because you can't be what you can't see. And so if you're on the audience and you're wondering, one day I'd like to be able to pitch my business, if there's no representation on stage, then we're not doing a good enough job.
Yeah. And in terms of the actual business, type of business, is there anything you're actually looking for a specific type of business? Yeah,
so actually we obviously mostly speak to technical businesses in some sense. Yep. And those technical businesses can be anything from a SaaS platform to innovative AI to AR, sports, gaming, wearable technology. Cool. We also have some physical products in the portfolio too, doing technical physical products, body support wear, plus size wear, those kind of things, which are more of a more technical basis. Cool. But so we're really agnostic, and we want all founders to have a home with us, because we feel that there is an opportunity for us to really broaden the catchment of founders and ensure that it's not just such a niche SaaS community, because it's much bigger than that.
If you're not on stage, not pitching, what's the opportunity in terms of, sounds like a great opportunity to get to know other founders? Yeah,
that's right. So, sorry, I didn't finish the process, but you put your application in, and then we whittle it down to the final 10. And then those 10 come through to pitch training, and we spend an afternoon pitch training with them, helping them on their pitch deck and helping them ensure that they're getting the right kind of the right kind of advice, and that they're covering off all the pillars that we like to test on when they are doing the pitch. And then once they've gone through that pitch training, we then select the final 4. And that final 4 then get to go on stage on the night. Cool. So what's great about that is it gives people, even that don't get through to the final 4, some knowledge and some insights. In fact, we have people applying 3 or 4 times and then finally getting through on the 4th time and winning. And and it's just wonderful to see the progression of people's pitches and how they grow through the process.
So it's actually, sorry to interrupt you there, Vicki, it's actually more of almost like a VC pitch experience. Right.
It is
it's like
in
a preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And that sounds like the whole design and intent.
Intentional, because we want people to be able to go from us and feeling comfortable to go and sit in front of a VC.
Cool.
More times than not, we hear over and over again, gosh, this was my first time that I've ever pitched in front of anybody. And I did it in front of a crowd of 150 people.
Yeah, right.
And now pitching in front of a VC feels easy. Because I only have to do that in front of 2 people.
Yeah.
And so it gives them a platform, it gives them permission, and it gives them an opportunity to feel heard and seen in a very friendly environment. Our wonderful pitch trainer, Phil Orr, who's been helping the Startup Network for pitch training for a number of years, he always says that the Startup Network's more like the dolphin tank than the shark tank. And that's exactly how we want to come across.
Friendly, cuddly.
Friendly, warm, beautiful audience.
Love fish.
Yeah. Play with balls. And so, we like to make sure that people have a positive experience so that they don't feel put off by the idea of pitching. And we've had some amazing success stories from people who have come through and pitched and then gone on to pitch in front of VCs and got funding. So it feels amazing. And we do offer everybody, even if you don't get through to the final 10, we offer everybody a 15-minute call to have a conversation about why they weren't selected, what it was that they can do to their pitch deck to do better. So everyone gets, if they want it, some level of feedback.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I hope we can shine more of a light on these events. I think it's, I know from a Birchal perspective, we are super excited to be partnering with you. Yeah, I think it's we're in the business of trying to expand the ecosystem here in Australia. We see female founders in particular is a focus for us. We're trying to raise the profile. We had a wonderful female founder on just before yourself. 2 before yourself. And, it's not easy. We're talking about, how do you juggle parenting, childbirthing and entrepreneurship and that desire which comes with it. Those are not easy. They're not easy to navigate, and I think events like this female founder one is designed to help you build a community of people who are going through similar journey.
That's exactly right. That's exactly why we do it. That's why the Startup Network exists, to ensure that every founder has a community of people going through an experience exactly like the one you're going through, because it's a really lonely life as a founder. You all of a sudden you have friends that don't understand the journey you're going on. Friends don't even understand the language that you're using, because you're talking about pitching to VCs and get investment and seed funding, and and these are just alien conversations to a lot of people. And also, we want to ensure that people who do have partners remain together. Because we know that that's a challenge too, right? You don't want the only person you talk to your startup about to be your partner, whether you're a man or a woman. Like you want to have more of a community around you, and so that's what we do first and foremost at the Startup Network. Is we create community. We have events like Founder Connect, which is a really brilliant place for you to meet other founders. They happen every month. We have a female founder circle that has bi-monthly dinners. It has a beautiful community. We have a fabulously active WhatsApp group where we talk about the challenges and pitfalls and the ups and downs of founder life. And it just opens up the opportunity for women to be vulnerable in a space where it's really hard. The reason we started the female founder circle specifically was because we had a community of growth founders who were, doing brilliant things, but the women that were joining that community kept churning from that community. So when we asked them, why are you churning? their response was, I really like what we're doing here, but the people in the room don't understand my problems. My problems are not their problems.
Yeah.
Their problems are not my problems. And so we needed to have a space separate to that where women could talk to other people who understood their journey, which was very unique to potentially the men's journey.
Super. Well, why don't we, if you're open to it, have them come in here? The winner, even the maybe the runner up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love them to.
Let's bring them. You come back. Let's talk about how it went, what they learned. That would be really interesting, I think, to talk about, to share about, and shine a light on what we're all trying to do here. So if you're open to that,
I'd love that. That would be
great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'll just get it approved by Emily, but I'm sure she'll be totally on board.
Fine with it.
That's fine.
Thanks,
Emily,
Em.
if you're listening, thanks, mate. So, but well, look, Vicki, thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Super excited to hear how the event goes. Best of luck.
Thank you.
I won't be there, unfortunately.
That's okay.
But hopefully we can shine a light on it after.
Yeah.
And it sounds like an awesome initiative.
Yeah,
and
great.
If you're listening to this, make sure you come on down to 26th of March.
26th of March to the Commons, Gip Street. We start at 6:30 sharp.
Shout out to the Commons for getting behind that as well.
Absolutely.
And it's also where we're
Commons.
recording today. So thank you, the Commons.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Vicki.
Thanks
Pleasure
so much,
talking with you.
Mike. Lovely to chat to you.
See ya.
you.